yours, I'm a fool for your love.
Say you wanna be somebody, sick of being told what to do.
Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. I know I'm looking crazy right now because I have my face makeup on, my brows, my eye primer, but no shadow. But that's because I'm going to be showing you guys a look from the Stone Cold Fox palette by Colourpop. I'm going to be using this palette for the very first time. By the way, if you're new here, hey, my name's McKenna. Hope you stick around and hit that subscribe button. And don't forget to give this video a like if you like it. But yeah, we're gonna be testing out the Colourpop Stone Cold Fox palette. I love the Colourpop Bare Necessities palette, which is basically like the warmer toned sister to this palette. Didn't think I needed another eyeshadow palette until I saw this palette on Instagram and I was like, yeah, I need that. So I picked it up. I actually got it on sale, so I think it was only like 20-ish bucks. But yeah, it's a really beautiful palette. The packaging is so cute, and then this is what it looks like. So as you can see, it has a lot more cooler tones than the Bare Necessities palette, which I've actually been into cooler toned shadows, which is crazy because I'm always a warm toned girl. Like, I like warmer browns, but I've really been into the cool tones lately. So this palette is like right up my alley. It has all like the cooler tone light browns. It has some gray tones in there, which is really nice. And then a lot of beautiful shimmers. I love Colourpop shadows. They are some of my favorites. I feel like the formula is super creamy and blendable and very pigmented, and you just can't beat the price point. So if you want to see what look I come up with this palette, then just keep watching. Alright, so I just primed my eyes and I'm just gonna pat out the creasing because I am starting to crease. I just used the P. Louise base, if you're wondering. Yeah, I just used P. Louise Rumor 1. So that is what I use for primer today. And I'm trying to think like what kind of look I want to do. I think I'm going to do like a silvery look. So I'm going to start off with this color here, which is You Rock. It's a nice like light gray taupe color. So that is going to be my transition shade for today's look. I'm just going to take my xoxo Beauty blending brush. This is the E812. I always have these brushes linked in my description box, and I do have a discount code if you guys are interested. But anyways, let's start with the shade You Rock, and we are going to put that into my crease. So I'm just going to very lightly apply this gray into my crease. I'm using really little pressure on my brush because I do find with cool tone shadows it's really easy for the shadows to start looking a little muddy if you don't take the time to blend them properly. So I'm just going to blend this out, and like I said, really just take my time blending because I don't want them to look muddy or just not good, you know? I will say one thing about these shadows, same thing with the Bare Necessities palette, is they do have a lot of kickback in the pan, meaning they are very powdery. So when you do dip your brush into them, you are gonna see some shadow all over the palette. It's the same thing, like I said, with the Bare Necessities palette, but I still love that palette regardless. You know, a little bit of kickback in the pan doesn't really bother me, it doesn't discourage me. But one other little thing I'll add is the material of this palette is like a paper, like cardboard material. So when there is kickback in the pan and it gets all over, this kind of stains. So this palette does get very messy looking. At least my Bare Necessities palette did. Like, my Bare Necessities palette looks so dirty, and it's not, it's just it gets so stained, and I wish I wish that wasn't the case, but because of the material of the packaging, it kind of soaks up the shadows and it's hard to clean it. Okay, so I'm actually gonna go ahead and I'm going to apply a little bit of powder underneath my eyes, just like whatever's left on my beauty sponge, just because if I do have any fallout, I don't want it to stain my under eye area. Now we're gonna be going in with this shade here, which is Rumor Mill. It's a deep like slate gray. It's really, really pretty. Probably like the prettiest gray I own. I just feel like I like the fact that it has a little bit of like a bluish tone to it. Very 90s. So I'm going to switch to like a more dense brush, and I'm going to just start patting this in the outer portion of my eye in the shape that I want it. So I am kind of focusing this color on the outer corner. I'm not bringing it too far in because I kind of want to leave the inner portion area for the lid shades that I'm going to be using. So yeah, we're just focusing this gray on the outer portion of the eye. Now that I have the overall shape that I want, I'm going to start kind of patting that color on the outer portion of my eye, just to deepen up that area. So far I'm really liking how the shadows are blending. They really aren't giving me any issues. Like I was saying, sometimes with cooler toned shadows, it's really easy for them to start to look like muddy and like skip and just not blend nicely into each other. But so far, these are looking pretty good. I'm just going back in with the You Rock shade and just reapplying it in my crease area and just making sure everything is looking blended. So I don't think I want to do like any sort of cut crease. I think I want to keep it really soft and I want all the colors kind of blend into each other. But I do kind of want to add a little bit extra primer on the lid area. That way when I go in with my lid shade, it's going to stick a lot better. So I'm just going to take a little bit of my P. Louise base, and I'm going to do one eye at a time for this step, just because I don't want the base to dry up too much. So I'm just taking my finger and I'm just putting a little bit on my finger. I'm actually going to wipe off the rest and just kind of work with what I have on my lid. And I'm just going to pat this on the lid. And I'm going to pat it until it kind of starts to set. But you don't want it to set completely because you obviously want a little bit of a stickier base for this shadow. Now I'm going to take this color here, which is Magnetic Moon. It's a nice silver. It's like a true silver. So I'm going to actually use my finger because I don't have any nails right now, so I can use my finger. So I'm just going to take that on my finger and I'm just going to, oh wow, that is a bright silver. So I'm just going to pat that on my eye. It's applying really nicely. And then for the inner corner, like the inner portion of my eye, I'm going to take this color here, which is Dreamful. It's basically like a white with a little bit, you can see like silver flecks in it. It's a really pretty color, but it is a matte base, so this isn't going to be shimmery. So we're mixing matte and shimmer, which hopefully doesn't look bad. So I'm just using a pencil brush to apply this on the inner corner of my eye. And again, we aren't doing a cut crease, so I'm not afraid to bring this like up a little bit. As you can see, there's a little bit of like a gap right here in between the matte and the shimmer. I'm just going to take a little bit of the darker gray that we used like so, and just kind of blend it into the silver. I'm just going to take a little bit more of the silver shade, not much, but just a little bit, and just pat it over the matte shade. Just to like create like a really seamless blend. Oh yeah. So this is what we have going on right now. It is kind of giving me like 90s vibes with the cool tone. Like 90s, a little bit of 80s vibes, but I really like it, and I feel like with like a nice glossy nude lip, it's gonna look really nice. So I'm gonna catch up on this eye, do all the steps that I just did, and then I'll be back and I'll do the lower lash line. Alright, so I decided instead of going in with a full wing, I wanted to do more of like a smoky situation on the outer corner. So I did a liquid liner, stopped it here, and now we're going to kind of like smoke it out. So I'm going to take the black from the palette, which is called Rock Bottom. It looks like a really good black, so just be careful with it, because I know the black from the Bare Necessities palette is like really intense. So I'm just going to pat. I'm just using an angled brush. I did put a little powder here just to catch any fallout. So with my angled brush, I'm just going ahead and I'm kind of just connecting the black shadow with the liner, like so. And then we're gonna take a pencil brush and I'm just gonna smudge out the liner, and then I'll go back in with my little blending brush, and again make sure everything is looking super blended. It's probably best to actually, now that I've realized, it's probably best to do the line on the lash line with a gel, because the liner that I used is like ultra matte. It's the CoverGirl Get in Line liner, and I love it, but it's like very, very, very matte, and I feel like I can't get the black shadow to like truly stick to the matte liner, where if you use a gel, it'll probably have still a little bit of stick to it, so you can kind of like manipulate it a little bit and smoke it out a little bit more. But I mean, it still looks totally fine. That's just me being nitpicky and a perfectionist as usual. If you want to keep with the smokiness, of course you can just smoke out a black liner or gray, but I don't know, I kind of like the idea of the white. Hopefully I actually like it once it's all done. But I'm also going to take a little bit of the black and just apply that on the outer corner. And I just connected the black with the lid. Then I'm just taking a pencil brush and the You Rock color, and I'm just gonna apply that on the lower lash line. Then taking that white that we use on the inner corner, I'm just going to apply that on like the tear duct area, just to brighten and lighten that area. Okay, so eyes are done, lashes are on, and I am loving them. I'm like literally having a hot flash right now. It is so hot right now. I don't know about you guys, but where you guys live, but in New Jersey, it's been super warm. It's November and it's literally 70 degrees. I don't know what's going on. It's beautiful out, but I'm freaking hot right now. So anyways, we're gonna move on to lips. I'm gonna be using my go-to, which is the Il Makiage Carly Bible Luna lip liner. I've used this a million times. I did put a little powder on my lips, just because I had like chapstick on and I felt like it was a little too oily. And I am overlining because I kind of want like big juicy lips with this look. I don't know why. For lipstick, I'm going to be taking the e.l.f. Seriously Satin Lipstick in Cream. I've been seeing so many people talk about this lipstick, so I finally picked it up. It was so cheap, and let me tell you, this is like an awesome nude. I will say this though, it comes off a lot lighter on the lips than it looks in the tube, so just beware. Like, I don't know, it's a pretty light nude, but it's a nice matte finish. It's so creamy. You can totally keep it matte, but I'm gonna add some gloss. I'm going to be using the Anastasia lip gloss in the shade Pearl, which has been like one of my favorite glosses lately. It has like such a pretty shimmer to it. I love it. So that concludes today's look. I actually really love the way it came out, and I will definitely be doing my eyes like this again. So yeah, I definitely suggest getting your hands on this palette. The colors are so beautiful and the formula is awesome. And again, you just can't beat the price point. I'm sure they'll be having some Black Friday sales, so maybe wait till then because you could probably snag this for a little bit cheaper. Overall, it's a great palette. I like how it is very thin, it's not too bulky. And if you are a makeup artist, it would be a perfect palette to have in your kit, or if you're just looking for a great everyday palette that can transition from everyday makeup to more of like a glam look, this palette would be perfect for that. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to give it a like. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram if you don't already. I post on there a lot more than I do on here. And yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye guys. Mwah.